Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Karen Reborn. In case you're new here, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Press that button down below after subscribing. So today I want to analyze a book that is Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. Chinua Achebe is a renowned writer, and he brings so clearly different histories, different parts of this book. The first part of the book happened. The setting of the first part of the book takes place in Umuofia. There is a fictional village in Nigeria. Then the second part takes place in Bata. Then the last part takes place in Umuofia again after exile of Okonkwo, coming back from exile. So Okonkwo is the protagonist of this book. Okonkwo is known in this book as someone who is a fighter, great in battle. Okonkwo fights battles in the book, fights for the community, fights for the village, and that is why Okonkwo is so renowned in this community. And because Okonkwo is a fighter and someone who is famous, works hard, Okonkwo doesn't tolerate laziness. And the book also tells us that Okonkwo treats lazy people with a heavy hand. Okonkwo disciplines people with a heavy hand. To mean this is a tough person, this is someone who is so mighty in battle, this is someone who does not accept to be trodden down by anyone, because he believes in success and he believes in working hard. And in the contrary, Okonkwo's father was the laziest person in this village, was known for being lazy, someone who had a lot of debts, lived by borrowing debts here and there. And even because of this, Okonkwo disliked his father so much and never wanted to be associated with someone who is so lazy. And so, because Okonkwo did not want to be associated with the father, Okonkwo decides that I'm going to work hard, I'm going to disapprove all this, and that is why Okonkwo comes out as a great person in this community, as a great warrior. You can imagine there was a fighter known as Amalinze the cat, whom everyone could not defeat, but Okonkwo overthrows Amalinze the cat in the battle. So this is someone who is so mighty, this is someone who is so great in battle, and because of this, Okonkwo is named as someone great in this community. On the other hand, Okonkwo is known as a great person in the community because Okonkwo had several wives. The measure of wealth in this community was the number of wives that one has, the plantation, and how someone was known in the community. And that is why Okonkwo fits so well in this community to be known as someone who is so great. Therefore, Okonkwo does not accept the life of Nue, the son, the firstborn son. Nue only wants to associate himself with the women. Nue does not like working hard. Nue just sits around women to listen to stories, whereas Okonkwo likes telling stories of shedding blood, how I killed someone, how I beheaded someone. And and Nue doesn't like this. Nue only wants to be sitting near the women to be told stories of the community, stories of the ancient community and how things are changing in the community and so forth. And because Okonkwo doesn't like this, a certain thing happens in the society here in this community. A certain family kills a wife to a certain man. And after killing this wife, the woman, the family had to compensate by giving their boy, or rather their child, to this community. And because Okonkwo has been ranked so high in this community, he's given this boy to stay with, to live with this boy as they wait for the day that this boy will be killed, because that was their culture and they have their beliefs, they have their cultures that they follow so strictly, and no one can even come to change that. They follow this so strictly. And if you did wrong in this community, you would be killed, you would be taken to exile, as we later see it in the book happening to this protagonist. And because of this, these people lived enjoyed living in this society, because they could watch their moral values. They could at least live peacefully in this community because of the rules that were set, and there were guidelines that were helping to maintain the peace of this community. And because they were maintaining the peace of the community, any wrong thing would be punished severely, either by death, and mostly it was by death, the killing. So in this book, we get to see Okonkwo now is the only person in this book that is so much hardworking. He sees himself as someone who is so great. He sees himself as someone who is so highly rated. And because he sees himself that way, Okonkwo now decides that he's going to raise Ekemefuna in the way of a man, in a way a man should live. And he raises Ekemefuna that way. He lives with Ekemefuna for 3 years before they kill Ekemefuna. And during this time, there was so much bonding in this home that Ekemefuna had already bonded with the Moe, with the children and all that, and Ekemefuna was so wise. And because of the crime that was supposed to be punished by killing this boy, finally they're arranging to kill the boy. A certain old man comes to visit Okonkwo and tells Okonkwo that don't take hand in the killing of this boy. This boy has been calling you father, and if you take a hand in killing him, then it's not a good picture at all. Okonkwo, he's so grave, Okonkwo is so fierce, and Okonkwo, he's so brave, decides that, oh, I'm going to do it. How can I fail to kill the child, the boy? They will see me as a failure. How are people going to view me in this community? And Okonkwo says that, no, I'm going to kill him. And finally, Okonkwo takes hand in killing Ekemefuna. Noe is so much displeased with this and is so much angered. Even though Okonkwo was so much in pain and was not in peace for that period during the mourning of Ekemefuna, he didn't show it, but he could not even eat after the death of Ekemefuna because of the bond that they already had. But Okonkwo chose to please the community, to please the society, and that was all because of his pride. And after that, Noe is so much displaced. Noe doesn't accept whatever the father did. He lives in pain because he's been deprived of a brother to him, whom he has loved for several days, years, 3 years, staying with someone, bonding. It was too much to lose that person recklessly. And because of this, Okonkwo decides to please people. And that is it. And bearing in mind that this is the greatest person with the wealthiest person in the community, with a huge plantation of yams, and that was the staple food in this community. And if you had yams, then you are a great person. Therefore, the death of this old man that came to warn Okonkwo against killing of this boy. And during this celebration, Okonkwo shoots the 16-year-old boy. And because this culture and religion and belief, everyone is just involved. Even if you are the wealthiest person, you are the greatest person in the community, you still have to obey it. You still have to go by the ways, the culture. And because of this culture, after killing that boy, by shooting that boy mistakenly, Okonkwo is now forced to go to exile. Okonkwo gets to Mbatsa, that is his motherland, and you get to understand mothers are so important, because when you go to when you have a problem, the only person who's always have your back, who will always have your back, is your mother. And now Okonkwo, taken to exile, goes back to the mother's land. And during the time when Okonkwo is in his motherland, Okonkwo decides that he's going to at least get something to do during that time. And even Okonkwo gets new wives in that village. Okonkwo has the farms and does just a lot during the time that he's in exile. But he's not peaceful, because remember, you've been someone in a village, in a community, someone who's been great in battle, someone who's been waiting to be ranked so high, to be given a great position in this community. And then all of a sudden you're taken to exile. It doesn't add up to Okonkwo, and he can't come to terms with it. And he really wants to get out of exile and get back to Umofa. And he even wonders if he will get back to Umofa and things will turn out different, or things will remain the same. But definitely it can't remain the same. After taking 7 years in exile, there are changes that are taking place in Umofia. And Nue collaborates with the European and joins the Christianity, because you can see, losing the pain because of a culture. Who can stand that? He doesn't stand that and says that, no, I'm going to sympathize with the Europeans, and he ends up to get education and becomes a teacher in the European schools. Okonkwo is so much displeased with this and can't come to fact with this, and decides, no, I can't get this right, even after coming out of exile. Okonkwo now gets back to Umofia. After getting back to Umofia, gets the news, they update Okonkwo of everything that took place during the time that Okonkwo was in exile. And because Okonkwo is updated of everything, Okonkwo decides that I'm going to fight. I've been a fighter, I've been a warrior, I've been great in battle. I'm still going to fight for this community. Whether what will happen to me, I'm still going to fight for the community until my death. And Okonkwo decides to fight for the community. And during that time, on the other hand, the colonialist came. We have Mr. Brown, who used to associate so well with the people, the Igbo people, and to understand their culture. And he could come to get from you, to learn from each one. He could learn from the people of Umofia, and at the same time, the people could learn from him. And that is why he ended up winning a lot of people to his missionary work. And because of this, you find that people who are collaborating mostly are the people who have been suffering in this community. You can see that a mother giving birth to twins, and the twins are killed because it's a taboo in that community. They don't accept twins. And this is a woman who's been living in pain. And because she was pregnant, she decided that to protect my baby, the only way I will do this is by collaborating with the European. And that's why he also gets there and collaborates with Mr. Brown and the European. Mr. Brown now goes back, and we have now a new European, a new white, that is Mr. Smith. Mr. Smith comes with a heavy hand, just like Okonkwo. And Mr. Smith, because he's so someone with a heavy hand, someone who likes to do things out of strength and might, he decides to take this community in a different place by building even the government stations, where if you do anything wrong in the community, you're taken there. If you don't collaborate with them, you're taken there, you're taken captive. And all these are now happening in Umofia. And because of the colonial government versus Umofia, the government have their own way of punishing the wrong deeds. The Umofia have their own way of punishing the wrong deeds. And because they have different ways of punishing this makes them so different. And that is why the government fights Umofia. And that is why Umofia also fights the government. Because so many people in Umofia didn't accept change, inclusive of Okonkwo. Okonkwo did not believe in change. He did not accept change. And because he did not want to change by learning the ways of the white and learning how to read and write, through education and accepting the gods, because they were made to believe that their god was dead. Like the Chuku was dead. And because they are made to believe that, he doesn't get in terms with this and doesn't accept it at all. Therefore, Okonkwo meets his death. Okonkwo, as a protagonist in the story, ends up dying as a villain, someone who is helpless, someone who does not have something to show. His death can't be related with a famous person, as famous warrior as it was known. So it turns out different, so different, so different. So Okonkwo decides that after the time they were taken captive with the other 5 men, they're taken captive, and Okonkwo decides that, okay, I'm going to revenge. And Okonkwo revenge by killing the messenger, the European messenger. And after the death of the European messenger, the messengers are coming back to meet Okonkwo and to see this person called Okonkwo, who have killed one of our messengers. They could not find Okonkwo. Okonkwo went and hanged himself. Imagine someone who is a protagonist, someone who is so known in the society as a great person, now dies by hanging himself. And then after the villagers finding out that Okonkwo had already hanged himself, they don't even go there to unhang him. What they do, they wait, because it's against their culture to touch someone who's been hanged, and they don't even bury someone who's been hanged. So you can imagine how Okonkwo met his death, and how he ended up falling from someone who is so great. He ended up to be someone who is so, it's more of like the nothing, just nothing, who is just thrown away because he just committed suicide. So this book is a very nice book, as we can see it. It has the positive effects and the negative, and we have the positive effects of colonialism. It's so well narrated. Chinua Achebe gives us the 2 parts of a story. He gives us the first part, talking about the importance and historical events and the importance of, and those people that was sympathizing with the Europeans were the people who had issues in the society, like the people who were outcast in the society. The society didn't like them, and you can see the likes of Noe became angered so much after the death of Ikemefuna, who was like a brother to him. And because of this death, Noe decides that there's refuge this other side, and I'm going to get to that side of Christianity to get refuge there, because in the other side they don't regard life, they don't respect life, they don't value life. They just kill people endlessly. They just take people to exile. Babies are just mutilated, you see. So if a baby is dead at a young age, the only thing that they could do is to mutilate the baby so that the baby could not come back. And you see, that was their belief, and you can't even change it. That is how they believed it. So because of this, sympathizers with the Europeans become so many, and that only those people in the society that were struggling in the society, those are the people who are sympathizing, because they see there's help the other side, we have valued the other side. And as the missionaries used to preach, that everyone is equal, no matter how you are, no matter what you have, everyone is equal in the eyes of God. And because they were told this, they were encouraged. They saw it as a great thing to dwell in the house of God, to dwell with the people in the missionary, in the mission places and the missionaries. And that is how these people came to be the sympathizers with the Europeans. And Okonkwo, on the other hand, is so much angered and says that, no, I can't accept to live this way. I can't accept to go the way these Europeans want me to go. And as a renowned fighter and a mighty man in war, I must fight for the community. Even if I'm going to fight alone, I must fight for this community, for the rights, and bring back what belongs to us. And because of this, Okonkwo meets his death at the verge of fighting, because he's forced to kill a messenger, European messenger, because of vengeance. And after killing this person, Okonkwo dies a hopeless person, from a protagonist to a villain, so helpless, hangs himself on a tree because he could not take it. He could not accept the change. You know, the Europeans came with a change, and this change, not everyone accepted it. And including Okonkwo, he could not accept this change, and that is why he decided to hang himself. He dies hopelessly. He dies as a villain, someone that had respect, and dying this way, it's not adding up at all that they came with. So this shows that these people didn't want to embrace change. And a lesson that you can learn from this book, that you should also embrace change, because if they did accept education, then their life maybe would have changed by getting education and overthrowing this government. That is what Chinua Achebe is trying to give. But because they could not accept change, that is why they ended hopeless. Okonkwo is just signifying, or rather, it's Okonkwo is here to show us how the Omofia is representing the Omofia, and how they cannot accept change at all. And on the other hand, the colonialists also, they thought that these Africans, the Igbo, the people of Igbo, are so primitive. They are the Orient. They are so primitive, and there's nothing they know, and we just want to force our own ways into them, which is also a lesson to them, that if you want to get to someone, you should also understand their culture, then they understand yours, just as Mr. Brown was trying to bring it. Otherwise, it's a very nice book. You get to understand it more by reading it. Kindly get a copy, read it. You'll get to enjoy every bit. It's a very small book in a number of pages, and you can just read it within a day or 2 days. You'll be done. Thanks so much for listening. Thank you for watching until the end. Kindly, if you're new here, continue subscribing. This is the road to 500 subscribers, and I know we are going to make it before the end of next month, and it is going to work for us. Thank you so much for having my back, and have a blessed time.